didn't have anybody come to Sunday morning yoga outside in the park this morning. I think that threat of rain keeps some people hesitant. So I just wanted to offer up a short practice that you could do at home at any point today or throughout the week, in case you are missing this Sunday morning practice because of the weather and you still wanted to move your body and breathe and have a little bit of mindfulness on your mat. So we're going to begin in a seated position. You can sit comfortably if you want to sit on a prop, or maybe your legs are crossed like mine, or you'd like to kneel or have your legs out in front of you. You can bring your hands to your thighs. You can have the palms facing down or facing up if you'd like a little more openness or inviting what's out in the environment into your body. You can bring your eyes to close or let your gaze soften. You can start to tune into the breath. Notice how you're breathing this morning. Are you breathing into the chest or into the belly? Can you slow your breath down slightly and allow the diaphragm to really feel as though it's expanding, the rib cage expanding as you breathe in? Can you allow your shoulders to drop down, your jaw to loosen, your seat bones to feel heavy and grounded as you breathe out? And as you slow this breath down, can you intentionally start to deepen your inhales? Maybe bringing them down into the belly, expanding the belly, and then allowing that breath to fill up your lungs, expanding the rib cage, diaphragm opens, bringing it all the way up to the top of the chest, expanding the collarbones, breathing in deeply. And exhaling just as long and slow as feels good for you, allowing the chest to fall, ribs to relax in, and belly to draw in. And taking 3 more deep breaths in this way. Big inhales. Maybe sitting up a little taller. Big exhales. Sinking in a little deeper, releasing any tension you might notice that you're holding on to unnecessarily. With your next exhale, you could sink your chin down towards your chest, letting the head feel heavy. Again, noticing any unnecessary tension in the tops of the shoulders, the sides of the neck, the jaw. Maybe you would like to draw the head over towards one shoulder and then over towards the other, making a big semicircle across your chest. When you feel those movements are complete, you can draw your chin back down towards your chest. Again, letting the head hang heavy. And then slowly, as you inhale, draw your head up again on top of your neck. You can blink open your eyes if they're still closed. Draw the palms to touch at heart center. With your next inhale, sweep the arms wide, reach fingertips up overhead, maybe lift your gaze. And as you exhale, you can breathe out your mouth, draw your palms back together over your heart. And do that 2 more times. Big inhale, reach up. Sigh it out. 1 more. Nice, let's drop the right hand down to the edge of the mat or outside the mat. We'll sweep the left fingertips up and over. Finding a big stretch for the left side body, sinking your left seat bone down and maybe gazing up towards the ceiling. Next inhale, reach those left fingertips up, pause here. We're gonna rotate the heart to the right and bring those left fingertips down to the right knee. You can bring your right fingertips around behind you, moving into a gentle twist for the spine. Use your abdominal muscles to support your low back and your lumbar spine as you twist. So big inhale, you can lengthen up. Exhale, slight engagement of the abdominals, rotating the heart to the right. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw. One more inhale here. And exhale, come back through center, palms touch at heart center. Nice, let's release the left fingertips down next to you. Right arm can reach up and over for a big side stretch on this side. Right hip sinks down as the arm reaches up. Big inhale, lengthen up, pause here. Let's take those right fingertips over to the left knee, left fingertips around behind you. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, slight engagement of the abdominals as you rotate your heart to the left. Maybe drawing the shoulder blades a little closer together behind you. Maybe turning your gaze towards the back wall. Exhale, release, coming back through center, palms can touch at heart center. Nice, let's turn over onto hands and knees. So plant those palms down on your mat. Bring the knees down hip distance apart or a little wider. Stack your shoulders on top of your wrists and spread out your fingers. And if that's not comfortable for the wrists, maybe come onto fists or forearms instead. We'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow here to further limber up the spine. Starting with a big inhale, you can drop your belly down, reach your heart forward, lift your gaze. As you exhale, round the spine, draw the belly button in, drop the head. Inhale, belly drops, heart reaches forward, gaze lift. Exhale, round the spine. 3 more rounds of breath here. You could add some side-to-side movements or circles for the hips or anything else that might feel really good for the remaining 3 breaths. Down into the knuckles, draw the low belly in, lengthen the spine forwards and back. And with a nice strong core, lengthen your right leg back behind you. So finding stillness here. If you want to add the left arm, really press down into the knuckles and the pads of the fingers of that right hand so we're not collapsing down into the chest and shoulder. And lengthen your left fingertips forward. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, release the hand, release the knee. Left leg can lengthen back behind you. Feeling strong through the arms, strong through the abdominals. Maybe pressing down into that left hand and lengthening the right fingertips forward. One more inhale here. Exhale, release hand, release knee. One more time on each side. Inhaling to lengthen the leg. Maybe you're adding the arm. Maybe you're staying static here for a breath, or maybe slowly and with as much stability as you can, you're opening your right leg out to the right and your left fingertips out to the left. And then again, finding that stability. Bring it back to center. Exhale, hand comes down, knee comes down. Last one, strong core, left leg reaches back. Maybe you're adding that right arm, staying strong through the left hand, left arm. Maybe you're staying here for a breath, or maybe you're slowly opening everything up wide. Slowly bringing it back through center, and exhaling to release down. Nice, let's take the knees a little wider here. Big toes can touch behind you and make a few circles for the hips. Circle in the opposite direction. And then an option here to come back to tabletop on hands and knees, or to tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back for your first downward dog of your practice today. If you're coming into down dog, you can walk out your dog by bending one knee, bending the other. Letting your head dangle down. Shoulders sliding down the back. Eventually finding some stillness in the legs as the heels sink down heavy towards your mat. And then either from hands and knees or from down dog, as you inhale, reach your right leg long behind you. As you exhale, draw that knee into your chest and step or walk your right foot up in between your hands. Or if that's a little too crunched up for your core, your belly, take it to the outside of the right hand. You can drop your left knee down. Option to keep the toes tucked or to lay the toenails down onto the mat. Take a moment, sink down into your hips, feeling a nice opening for the front of the left hip. And then pressing down into your front foot, start to fire up your core muscles and bring your hands up to your front thigh. So option here to stay down on that back knee or to tuck the toes and lift that knee. And if you're doing that, we're drawing that left hip forward as we draw the right hip back into its socket. So either with that knee up or the knee down, we're sitting up tall out of the hips. Maybe you're starting to take some weight out of your hands, or maybe you're feeling okay to sweep the arms right up overhead, either reaching fingertips straight up, or maybe you're bending at the elbows, finding cactus arms. Take one more big inhale here. Exhale, hands can come back to the front thigh. If you've raised that back knee, lower it back down, and then take your hands down to your mat and find your way to half Hanuman. So you'll probably want to untuck the toes unless you want a really big stretch for the back foot. We're sending the hips back and down, straightening out the front leg and drawing the toes towards you. If you feel like it's really a stretch to reach the fingertips to the mat, grab some blocks or stacks of books or firm cushions, something to bring the mat up to your hands. Maybe you're folding your upper body down over your extended leg. Or maybe you're playing with drawing that hip a little more into its socket, feeling a bigger sensation up the back of that right leg. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll walk the hands forward again, bending into the right knee and planting the toes or the sole of the foot down. Plant your left hand down onto your mat, or maybe your fist. Take your right hand to your right knee and press into that knee as you rotate the heart to the right. See if you can keep that leg in its line, hip lined up with knee, lined up with ankle, and maybe let go of the leg and reach your right fingertips up towards the sky. Draw in on your low belly, using your core to support your spine as you deepen your twist for one more inhale. Exhale, hand comes down. We're gonna either step back onto hands and knees or into down dog. So if you're coming back to down dog, tuck your toes, lift your back knee, and step your right foot back to meet the left. If you're coming back to hands and knees, you might want to take a moment, sink the hips back in an active child's pose. And then either from hands and knees or from downward facing dog, we're going to inhale and lift the left leg. Exhale, draw that knee into the chest and step or walk the foot up towards the top of the mat. Again, either in between the hands or to the outside of the left hand. We're dropping that back knee down. Option to keep the toes tucked or toenails to the mat. Sink down into the hips. And then here we're walking the hands up to the front thigh, sitting up tall out of the hips, lengthening the spine. Option at this time, if your knee is down, to press into the toes and lift that knee up off the mat. Or of course, you're always welcome to keep it down or take it back down at any time. And as you're strengthening up through the abdominals, maybe you're taking the weight out of your fingertips, or maybe you're sweeping your arms right up overhead, maybe into cactus arms. One more big inhale here. Exhale, hands come back to the front thigh, drop that back knee down, take the hands down to the mat, and make your way to half Hanuman on this side. So we're sending the hips back, straightening out the front leg and drawing the toes towards you. Maybe you're bowing down over that extended leg. Nice, one more breath here. And then when you're ready, you can walk your hands forward. Once again, we're gonna plant the right hand or the right fist down on the mat or on a block. Left hand to the left knee. Rotate the heart to the left, finding your twist. And if you're feeling pretty stable there, maybe you're extending your left fingertips up towards the sky. Next, exhale, left hand can come back down. You're either staying on your back knee or you're making your way back to down dog by tucking the toes and lifting the back knee. And then either way, you'll step that right foot back. So either to down dog or to an active child's pose for a few breaths. We're going to make our way into a standing forward fold. So if you're in an active child's pose, you'll drag your hands towards your knees, tuck your toes under, lift those hips up. Feet can be nice and wide apart. If you're coming from down dog, you can either tiptoe your feet towards your hands, or you can walk your hands towards your feet. Again, finding our Uttanasana, our standing forward fold. Hips are lifting up towards the sky as the head dangles down. You're welcome to take your hands to opposite elbows. Or maybe you'd like to bend your knees a lot and give some support for your low back by taking the elbows to rest on your thighs. Let your head dangle. You can shake your head no, shake your head yes. And then when you're ready to come to standing, if you're holding your elbows, release your fingertips down towards the mat. Take a nice big bend in your knees and then slowly make your way up. So maybe you're just letting the fingers dangle as you slowly uncurl the spine, or maybe you're walking your hands up your legs for support until you come all the way to standing tall on your mat, bringing the feet to about hip distance apart. You can bring your palms to touch at heart center, lengthen up through the spine. Release down through the backs of the shoulders. Maybe close your eyes here for a breath or two. Noticing how the mat and the ground feels underneath your feet. Notice how it feels to be standing tall, stacking up the spine, balancing shoulders over hips. Blinking open the eyes when you feel ready. We'll take an inhale, sweep the arms wide, reach up overhead, maybe lift the gaze. As you exhale, swan dive down over your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. So we're extending the spine forward. Fingertips are either on your mat in front of you or on some blocks, or fingertips are on your shins, giving you a little bit more height and support. Next, exhale, fold it back down. Engage through the core as you inhale. You're either sweeping the arms wide with a long spine and coming up, or you can round the spine, bend the knees, walk the hands up the thighs. Reach up overhead, look up. Exhale, palms touch at heart center. We're going to add on this time and step back. So if you're not up near the top of your mat, make your way up to the top of the mat. Big inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're gonna plant our hands and step our way back into high plank. So option to come onto hands and knees here instead. Find a plank that works for you. And then as you exhale, lift those hips up and back to down dog, or find an active child's pose. Take a breath here. From your next inhale, we're coming either from down dog or from hands and knees, reaching that right leg long behind you. Exhaling, draw the knee into the chest and step or walk your foot up towards the top of the mat. So again, option to have that back knee down or have that back knee lifted, drawing that left hip forward and the right hip back. As you're ready, you can make your way up to a crescent lunge, or you can stay with the hands on the knees if that feels more comfortable. Nice. Option to stay here nice and steady, or take the arms around behind you, interlacing the fingers, lifting through the heart as you breathe in, and then maybe diving forward as you breathe out, bringing your right shoulder to the inside of your right knee. Using your abdominals to support your spine as you inhale, come on up. And as you exhale, sink down. Release your hands down to the mat and step your way back into a plank or into hands and knees. So plank on the toes or plank on the knees. If a flow is part of your practice, you're welcome to add it here, or else just meet us in active child's pose or downward facing dog. So we'll take 3 breaths once you've made your way back. And then either from hands and knees or downward facing dog, as you inhale, lift your left leg long behind you. As you exhale, draw that knee into the chest and step or walk it up towards the top of your mat. So again, option to have that back knee down, or toes are tucked and back knee is lifted. And we're coming up into our crescent lunge at your own pace. So you can stay here or incorporate any movement that feels comfortable for you. If you'd like to add that heart opener, arms come around behind you, interlace the fingers the opposite way this time, whichever way feels unnatural. Drawing the shoulders onto the back. Big inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to dive forward, left shoulder to the inside of the left knee. Use that core, be balanced, be steady as you come up. Inhale. Exhale, dive forward, pause, and release the hands down. We're making our way back to plank, and then either moving through a flow or back to down dog or active child's pose. Take a big breath once you get there. From here, make your way to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, reverse your swan dive all the way up. Exhale, palms touch at heart center. If you're not up near the top of your mat, make your way there. Big inhale. And exhale. Inhale, arms sweep wide, reach up overhead. Exhale, swan dive down over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, both feet step back, either to plank or plank on the knees, move through a flow, or find your way to down dog or active child's pose. Take a breath once you've made your way there. Inhale, left leg reaches long behind you. Exhale, draw that knee into the chest and step or walk the foot up in between the hands. Making your way into your crescent lunge. Right hand comes to the right hip, left arm reaches up and over. Big side stretch from left fingertips all the way down to that back knee if it's down, or through to the back heel, pressing it back if your back knee is lifted. Inhale, lift those fingers up. We're gonna move into a twist here. 3 options. You can take that hand back down to the mat and find the twist that we did before, either with the knee down or keeping the knee up. You can come to a little more of a gentle and supported twist by taking your left hand to your left knee, right hand to the right hip, rotating the heart to the right. Or you can find a prayer twist, bringing the palms to touch, reach the heart forward, take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, press into the hands and rotate the heart to the right. Whichever option you're choosing, draw in on your low belly, draw your hips into their sockets, take one more breath. And then exhale, release the hands down. Nice, we're gonna spin that back foot down into warrior 2. So toes are pointing off to the left. And we'll windmill the hands up. So I've turned around to make sure that you can see me and I'm not facing away from you. You're windmilling your left arm up and reaching it back behind you, and your right fingertips forward. Take a moment, look to the left, and really feel yourself opening to the left-hand side of your room. Shoulders are balancing over top of hips, belly button faces to the left, core is strong. And then only turn your gaze back towards your right fingertips. Nice, let's take one more big inhale. And exhale. Stay here if you like, or inhale, reverse, or exalt your warrior. Exhale, come on back. Stay here if you like, or find Trikonasana, straightening that front leg, pressing the right hip down, reaching the right fingertips forward. Drop your right hand down and your left fingertips up. Rotating the heart up towards the sky. Pressing down into the feet, staying strong through the legs and the hips. Reaching the spine forward. Exhale, look down at your front toes. Press into the feet as you inhale, come all the way back up, warrior 2. And then exhale, windmill your hands down to the mat. Step your way back to plank, move through a flow, or find your way to downward facing dog. Take a breath in down dog or on hands and knees. And then next inhale, left leg reaches long behind you. Exhale, draw that knee into the chest, step or walk your feet up, or walk your left foot up towards the top of the mat. So again, finding our crescent lunge. Left hand to the left hip, right arm reaches up and over. Inhale, lengthen right fingertips up. Exhale, move into your twist, whether you're planting that right hand down on your mat or on a prop, whether you're taking your hands to your knee and your hip, or whether you're finding your prayer twist for 3 breaths. As you exhale, hands can plant down to the mat. We're gonna spin that right foot down to a 90-degree angle, warrior 2 legs. And then as you're ready, nice strong core, windmill your arms up, right fingertips reach back, left fingertips reach forward. Take a moment again, turn yourself towards the right side of your mat. Balance shoulders on top of hips. Open the fronts of the hips so that you're facing towards the right. Press down into your feet and just turn your gaze again towards the front of the room. Take an inhale and an exhale. Stay here if this is feeling great, or next inhale, exalt your warrior. Exhale back through warrior 2. Again, option to stay here or find your way to Trikonasana, straightening that front leg, press the left hip down and the right hip back, angling your upper body forward. If you're adding the arms here, drop the left hand down to the front shin and take the right fingertips up. Keep pressing into the feet as you spiral your heart. And maybe your gaze up towards the sky. One more inhale. As you exhale, look down at your front toes. Nice strong core as you inhale, come all the way up, warrior 2. Exhale, windmill the hands down to the mat. Come up onto your back toes and step your way back into an active child's pose, or find your way through a flow, and you can meet in down dog or child's pose. So if you found your way to child's pose and you're having a rest, you're welcome to stay there as long as you like. If you're ready to move on from hands and knees or downward dog, we're going to come into Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Find your way to Ardha Uttanasana, fold down, and then inhale all the way up, completing Surya Namaskar. Palms touch at heart center. Bring the arms down alongside the body. Take a moment, have a sip of water here if you like. We're going to do one more standing flow before we come down to the mat. With the feet hip distance apart or the big toes touching, heels slightly apart, you can take a moment, find that length through the spine and strengthen the core, and then we'll make our way to Utkatasana, chair pose, sending the hips back and down and sweeping the arms up alongside the ears. Shoulders draw down away from the ears, hips reach back so the knees are back behind the toes. If you're looking down, you can see your toes. One more big inhale. Exhale, maybe sink a little deeper. And then as you inhale, press into your feet, straighten the legs, reach fingertips up towards the sky. As you exhale, take your right arm underneath your left, crossing at the elbows and moving into eagle arms. So maybe you're taking your hands to opposite shoulders, maybe the backs of the hands can touch, or you're wrapping your forearms and bringing the palms together. Then we're going to come back to our Utkatasana legs, sending the hips back and down. Rooting down into the left foot, let's lift the right leg and cross that right knee over top of the left. You can let your toes dangle or touch down gently to help with balance, or you can work towards wrapping your right foot around the back of your left leg. Draw up on your elbows, draw them away from you to find some separation for the shoulder blades. Sit back and down into the hips, give the legs a squeeze, give the arms a squeeze. One more breath here. We're going to flow back into crescent lunge legs. So pressing down into that left foot, slowly unpeel the right leg and send it back behind you, bringing the ball of the foot down to the mat. Option to drop the back knee. Big inhale, reach those elbows up towards the sky. Exhale, if you feel comfortable, you can dive forward. Left elbow to the inside of the left knee, or left shoulder to the inside of the left knee. Inhale, bring it up. So this time we're going to switch to warrior two legs. Spin that right foot down. Inhale, lengthen up, heart reaches up, fingertips reach up. Exhale again, option to stay steady or to dive forward. Inhale, bring it up. And now we're going to turn the left toes towards the right side of the mat. So we're all facing the right side of the mat. Big inhale, arms reach up, chest lift. And exhale, if you'd like to come forward, unwrap the arms, reach out like airplane arms, and dive forward into a wide-legged forward fold. You can adjust your feet. You can take props under your hands. You can let your head dangle. Hips lift up towards the sky. Weight shifts forward into the balls of the feet. Shake your head no, shake your head yes. Maybe bend one knee, sway over to one side. Bend the other knee, shift your weight over to that side. Whatever feels really good here for 2 more big breaths. And then finding some stillness. We're gonna walk those hands around to the front of the mat, turn both sets of toes. Option to step forward here into Uttanasana, or to play a little bit with a standing split, bringing your weight into that front foot, and then bouncing your back leg up behind you, maybe walking the fingertips forward and folding the upper body down over your extended leg. Drop your right hip, try not to let it open to the side. Keep lifting, lifting. Maybe you're taking one hand to the back of your standing leg, maybe both. When you're finished with that standing split, we're all meeting in Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Hips sink back, arms reach up alongside the ears. Take a breath here. Core is strong. Next, inhale, lengthen up through the arms, through the fingertips, and move into eagle pose. We're going to take the left arm underneath the right, crossing at the elbows. Hands to shoulders, backs of the hands can touch, or palms can touch. And then we're going to send those hips back and down, Utkatasana legs. Planting down into the right foot, lift that left leg over, crossing at the knee. Shifting those hips back and down as you draw the elbows up and away from you. Give everything a squeeze. And then finding stability on that right leg, using your core to help with balance. Slowly uncurl that left leg, send it back behind you. Drop the toes down. Inhale, lift the elbows up. Exhale, dive forward, right shoulder to the inside of the right knee. Inhale, lift it up. Spin that back heel down, warrior two legs. Exhale, dive forward. Last one, inhale, lift it up. This time we're gonna turn both sets of toes to face the left side of the mat. Lengthen up, reach up with the elbows. Exhale, you're either coming back to stand with a tall spine or you're diving forward, in which case release the arms wide and dive down. 5 breaths here to do what feels really good for you. Maybe you're planting one hand and lifting the opposite hand into a twist, and then switching sides. Or maybe you're working on lifting those hips up and lowering the head down, maybe walking the hands in between the feet and bending the elbows through the legs and behind you. When you're ready to come forward, we're going to turn both sets of toes towards the top of the mat. Walk the hands towards the top of the mat. And again, here, option to simply step forward and hang out in Uttanasana, forward fold, or to spring off that back leg and extend it back behind you into a standing split. Walking the hands forward and folding the upper body down over the extended leg. Squaring the hips and lifting that left leg back and up. And maybe taking one hand to your standing calf, maybe both. Pressing down into the four corners of that right foot. When you are done with your standing split, we'll all meet in Uttanasana, head dangles down. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana. Send those hips back, arms reach up alongside the ears. One breath here, feeling strong. Draw those knees back. Next inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, palms touch at heart center. Let's move into tree pose here for another opportunity for balance before we come to sitting. So we're rooting down into the right foot. Drawing the left knee up. And then opening into the side, you can take your left foot wherever you like on your standing leg. Just making sure we're not pressing on the knee. Finding length through the spine. Relaxing shoulders, drawing in on low belly. Lifting heart. Maybe lifting the arms. With control, as you make your way back to Tadasana, palms touch at heart center. Left leg can reach forward. Maybe press your foot out in front of you and then step that foot down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Sole of the left foot roots down, right knee reaches forward. Open that knee to the side, foot can come wherever you had it on the other leg. Lengthening up through the spine, growing tall, maybe growing your arms into branches. Palms back to touch at heart center. With control, bring that right knee forward. Maybe you're kicking that leg out in front of you and then setting the foot down, taking the arms down. Options here to come down and just sitting nice and easy. Make your way down to your mat however you like. Or you can come through Utkatasana and we'll slowly lower the hips all the way down to the mat. So just be careful, this can be a little bit more of a high impact or unsteady way to come down. If you're feeling unsteady or like you might topple over, take your hands down to the mat at any time. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep lowering your hips down really slow until you come all the way down. And then option here to transition into Navasana. A little bit of work for the core by lengthening up through the spine, holding onto the backs of the thighs, and extending the toes forward. And if you're choosing this option, maybe you're playing with reaching the fingertips forward. Maybe you're playing with extending the legs, but always keeping the spine nice and tall, shoulders drawing onto the back, and core nice and strong to support your low back and to engage your abdominals. When you're finished with your Navasana, you can bring the legs in, maybe cross at the ankles, give yourself a squeeze, and have a sip of water. We'll move into Janushirshasana from here. So I'm going to start by lengthening my left leg forward, taking the sole of my right foot to the inside of my left thigh. I'm rotating my upper body so I'm facing that extended leg and flexing my left foot, pressing the heel away and drawing the toes towards me so my left leg is active. You can walk your hands along the leg if you want and fold forward, or you can reach the arms up overhead and slowly come forward over your leg. So whichever option you're choosing, there's no need to strain and reach for that foot, especially if it means you're hunching up through your upper back and giving yourself a lot of tension in the shoulders and the neck and the jaw. You want to keep that upper body nice and relaxed. Hands can come down alongside the leg, or maybe you're using a strap or a scarf around the foot so that we don't have to strain forward. We can just relax into it. Allowing the low back to release, backs of the hips to feel heavy. And slowly walk your way back up to seated when you're finished with Janushirshasana on that side. And we're going to switch legs. Right leg will extend forward. Sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. If this left knee doesn't come down, I should have said it on the other side, but if that knee doesn't come down and your hip is really tight and holding on, take a pillow or a bolster or anything you've got that's comfy and take it underneath that leg so that that hip doesn't have to work so hard to keep the leg up. We want that hip to be able to release and to feel supported as it releases so that we're not just dropping that leg down and hurting that hip. We're going to rotate the upper body to face the extended leg, engage that leg, and maybe you're walking your hands along the mat, or maybe you're scooping your arms up and then folding down. 5 big breaths here to relax through the upper body, to release through the low back. When you're finished with this side, you can press your hands into the mat, lengthening up through the spine. Let's take both legs out, give them a little shake. And then bend at the knees, taking the soles of the feet to the mat. So option here for a modified version of Navasana, sitting up nice and tall with the arms reaching forward, keeping a long spine as you slowly lower your back down onto the mat. Or if your core has had enough, take your hands to the backs of the legs and just roll yourself down nice and easy, or even roll onto one side, make your way down onto your back, that way. Bring the knees into your chest. Once you've come down onto your back, give yourself a squeeze and maybe rock gently side to side. And let's take the soles of the feet down onto the mat. We're moving into bridge posture here. So we want the knees to be about stacked on top of the ankles and the feet about hip distance apart. So if you need to walk the feet in a little closer to get those shins perpendicular to your mat, that's great. Arms can be down alongside the body. If you find that your knees want to cave in towards each other, stick a block or a cushion in between the knees and give yourself some support there. You can squeeze that block, but keep the legs in line with the hips. When you're ready, you can press into your feet, peel the backs of the hips up off the mat, gaze is directly up at the ceiling. Maybe you're rolling your shoulder blades underneath you and clasping your hands together, pressing more into the feet and lifting those hips higher. Or maybe you're more comfortable keeping the arms just alongside the body and adding a little movement here, slowly lowering the hips down and then pressing them up. For 3 more breaths to do as you choose. If you've interlaced your fingers, release them, release the shoulders, and we'll all slowly lower the hips down, 1 vertebra at a time as you lower the spine, and then the backs of the hips. Keeping the left leg where it is, take your right ankle across your left thigh, sending that right knee away from you. So finding figure 4 pose, this might feel like enough for you, and maybe you just want to gently sway the hips side to side and notice sensations in the outer part of the right hip. Or maybe you'd like to draw that left leg towards you, maybe interlacing your fingers behind your left thigh or around your left shin. Continuing to press your right knee away from you to deepen sensation in that right hip. Shoulders relax, jaw relaxes. Maybe even closing the eyes here, checking in with your hips if there's any extra tension there that you could release with your next exhale. Maybe you're staying here if this is feeling really good for you, or maybe your body is asking for one more opportunity for a twist, in which case you'll release your hands and then drop your legs over to the left until that right foot comes down onto your mat. You can open your arms into cactus arms or straight out into a T, and you can keep your legs just as they are, or you can take that right knee and stack it on top of the left. Or maybe you're crossing the right leg all the way over the left and tucking the right foot underneath. If you've made your way into that twist, slowly bring the legs back to center so the backs of both hips are down on the mat. Uncross your right leg. Feet can be nice and wide apart here, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And we'll find that figure 4 on the other side. So the right foot's planting down, left foot's crossing over the right thigh. Send that left knee away from you. And on this side, you might notice that this hip might feel tighter than the other one and you want to stay here. Or maybe you want to start to draw that right leg towards you and interlace your fingers behind the shin or the thigh. And again, maybe you're gently rocking side to side, just noticing how that changes the sensation. And if this is feeling great for you, you're welcome to stay here longer. If you'd like to add that twist, release your hands and then just drop those legs over to the right. You can open your arms wide or cactus arms. You can keep the sole of the left foot on the ground, or you can stack the legs or cross the left leg over and then tuck it under the right. If you've made your way into that twist, slowly make your way back to center until the backs of the hips are both touching down on the mat. Uncross the left leg from over the right. Feet nice and wide. We'll windshield wiper the knees side to side one more time. And then here you're welcome to move in any way your body is asking you to move before you come into Shavasana. So maybe your body would like a happy baby, drawing the knees towards the shoulders, facing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, holding onto the backs of the legs or the outsides of the feet or the big toes. And if your arms come along the insides of the legs, you could press the elbows into the insides of the knees and widen those legs. Maybe rock gently side to side. Or any other movement that you feel called to do to help your practice feel complete this morning. When you're ready to find stillness, you can lengthen the legs down alongside your mat or along your mat. Arms down alongside the body. Shoulders slightly tucked under, feet nice and wide apart. Finding Shavasana. And knowing if laying on your back isn't comfortable or doesn't feel safe for you, you could roll over to one side, roll onto your belly, or come up to seated. Just finding any space where you feel really comfortable. Maybe letting your eyes close or your gaze soften. And just taking this time to sink in, to feel heavy and supported by your mat or any props that you are using. Noticing any external stimuli that might be making its way to your senses, noises that you might hear, temperature in your room, the feel of the mat or your props underneath you. Notice any thoughts moving through your awareness, any emotions that arise. And know that these are all things that will continue to exist, and that you always have the choice whether to engage with or to simply observe. Taking a deep breath in and out. And if your mind has wandered, gently bring your awareness back into your body. Slowly waking yourself up if you're ready to move up to seated. If you'd rather close your practice in Shavasana, you can stay just as you are. If you're coming to seated, you can gently bend your knees, take the soles of the feet to your mat, roll yourself over to one side, and gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. You can keep your eyes closed or let your gaze be soft. Taking a moment here to feel grateful for your practice. This ancient practice with its roots in India and Africa. This practice from which we get wisdom. We get the opportunity to move and to breathe. And more than that, we have a deep philosophical guideline with which we can follow and live our lives. And feeling gratitude for your body. And perhaps practicing ahimsa this morning, feeling kindness towards yourself, regardless of how you feel you did in your practice. Practicing that non-harming, which to me translates as kindness, even when it's difficult. And gratitude for this land on which we practice, the traditional and unceded territories of the Nunavut people. And we're grateful to be able to move and breathe and grow and practice here. And wherever you are today, I hope you find opportunities to notice your breath, and notice sensations in the body, and to take a moment to pause before reacting. I thank you so much for sharing your practice with me this morning. Namaste. so much, everybody. Enjoy your day. Happy Sunday.